All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I would, first of all, like to say that anytime you have a comment or question in any of these calls, it always remains the same. Push the letter 1, and that will raise your hand, and our moderator, Mike Sebo, will see that your hand is raised, and then put that in queue for a response. So anytime, again, push letter 1, number 1, and your hand will be raised. Today's topic is finding the right people, and one of the big challenges I think face the automotive industry these days is finding the right people. And first of all, the most common person there's a struggle in finding is technician staffing. And we look at the technicians and say, well, how do we first of all retain the technicians we have? Because the investment in training, regardless of the position, is substantial these days. A standard training program for a technician to get to master certified will have the dealer investing upwards of $15,000 to get this guy qualified. And then it's interesting when you look at that and you say, well, we'll invest this amount of money in somebody. Well, what are we going to invest in retaining the technician? Because little things matter. It could be that you look at your internal processes are poor, your advisor's poor, the way the technicians are treated may be a challenge for the dealership, yet there should be a major focus on what the retention program is to keep the technicians you have. And another part of this technician need is the dealership should always, and I re-emphasize that word, always be bringing in entry-level or mid-skill level technicians with the thought to develop them into the technicians that are needed for future growth. Because if you're planning always what the building blocks will be for future growth, and you're preparing technicians before the need, you're going to be in the best position for the dealership. And the same holds true with advisor staff. You know, if you're getting near 350 ROs per advisor and you're growing and you're looking at 400 ROs per advisor, you know in the near future, if your repair order counts are trending up as they should be, hopefully are, to retain that positive customer experience, the dealership needs to be looking at the next advisor. Is it going to be someone with experience that comes in? Is it going to be someone that's developed? But a good dealership is always training the team, encouraging the team, and developing the team. And many times I'm asked, what do you think the best way to hire is? Is it the experience? Do you hire the person with the most experience? Or do you hire a rookie with just a strong desire to do it? And I want to look at those 2 points briefly, because if you look at the experience side, obviously there's some real strong benefits there. You're going to bring someone in that can hit the ground running, start building block programs, emphasize the sales transactions they've been trained on. The processes are usually stronger. However, if you look at historically my experience and say a lot of these experienced advisors tend to think they walk on water. So you might have a guy that has a compensation package that's $20,000 more and really have a terrible history of treating the customer properly. So really what it comes down to in me, when you're hiring somebody, the reality is simple. They can look super on paper. They can have an incredible resume. And yet, I'm telling you directly, you don't know what you have until that technician opens up his toolbox. I've seen master certified technicians with a resume that reads like Wonder Boy come into a shop, open their toolbox, and be a total disaster. Can't put out 30 hours. You can't put out good quality repairs, so we've got comeback issues. Customer satisfaction drops. Taking too long to get a job done. Ordering the wrong parts. Guessing it. Putting on parts. Throwing parts at the repair instead of properly diagnosing it. The list goes on and on. So really, when you boil it down to the nuts and bolts of it, and you don't know the quality of person that you have until they open up that toolbox, I'll challenge you to rethink the rookie that wants to, that's being developed by the dealership on an ongoing basis. And although some of you might think initially that that's a cost, the reality is it's ultimately a benefit for the dealership, because they're never going to be stranded and left alone with a need that they cannot fill. I think another trend that the dealerships always fight is when someone leaves the company, then they put the mission on, gotta fill it, gotta fill that job, need it by tomorrow, gotta have apps. And so what happens then is they go into a panic mode, and they just want a warm body that can pass a drug test. And this is strong stuff that can either build a dealership for long-term successful growth, or hiring the wrong people where you're always struggling for customer satisfaction, customer retention. And I'm going to tell you the primary thing that I've noticed over the years of interviewing people. The most common thread for success in hiring the right individual almost universally comes down to attitude. It comes down to the desire. It comes down to the passion of what they want that job. If you hire an advisor that's been in the business for 20 years and they have the attitude that they're burnt out, they're customers, I got to deal with them, they're a necessary evil, but I sure don't want to deal with more than I need to, and I want to meet the minimum requirements. I want to look good on paper when someone's checking me out, but I don't want to go the extra mile for the customer. I'll tell you right now, that person will fail. It'll fail for the dealership. It'll fail for the long-term growth and prosperity of that department. And similarly, you got a technician that says, oh yeah, I always put out 60, 55, 60 hours, I'm flat rate, love it. Just pump, and I make the dealer all kinds of money. But I want a 40-hour guarantee for you to have the privilege of me to be in your facility. You're going to have to guarantee me this, and I want to start off with 3 weeks vacation, and I've earned this. Then you bring that kind of attitude in. Your other technicians hear about it. What do you think they want? How do you think they feel? Now, in my opinion, the guy's earned the respect and consideration of possibly compromising on a few issues. Never compromise on that guarantee. I'm totally against guarantees. My thing on that is dealers should guarantee the guy's got air to his base. He's got electrical power, a warm shop, and an opportunity with a good, strong parts department to make as much money as the guy can physically make, using his experience and talent to generate revenue for his family and the dealership. But too many times I've seen dealers compromise on their belief structure. Oh, this guy's great. I gotta have him. Gotta have him. And they come on and start to totally destruct the dealership operation. They totally destruct the team environment. One thing I can guarantee you, it's tough to keep secrets in a dealership. So we need to take the time to understand what the applicants are, take the time to start developing a good, strong plan for your dealership that doesn't take into consideration today's need, but starts developing technicians, starts developing advisors, starts developing the staffs they need for future growth way before the need. Those are the processes that must be inputted into every dealership across the country. One of the best things, though, when you do have a need, one of the resources that I always recommend to clients, and believe me when I say this isn't a commercial, this is just the simple truth. A fellow named Joe Henry started a company called ACT, A-C-T, Auto Staffing. And if you visit his website, actautostaffing.com, he's probably got 20,000 technician resumes on there. And the program is real reasonable cost. Joe Henry's a great guy, and he has a deal too that he can get, if a dealer has a need, a bunch of applications generally into his mailbox the next day. So if anyone asks me, where can I find a technician, where can I find an individual in the dealership that I need, I always send them to ACT Auto Staffing. Now, at the same token, if you're preparing and you're planning and you're developing the people internally that you should be doing, you'll need to visit that website very few times. There will be needs occasionally, and again, I don't get any cuts from ACT Auto Staffing. It's just a resource that I love, and I respect the owner. I respect the site, and it just, if you do have a need, no matter where you are in the United States, generally you can get your inbox filled with some resumes. But I really want you to, as a dealer or a dealer team member, to look at this development program for your store and consider it a mandate that you immediately start developing technicians for the future, and also develop advisor staff if you need to, if you're in that position, people that can step in when the future need develops, and you're just promoting from within and developing internal processes that will have the dealership not miss a beat to meet the future staffing needs. All right, if anyone has a question or comment, push 1 now, and Mike will bring notice to that. I know this has some controversy in staffing.